In a distant land, there once lived a wise and powerful king. He had 2 wives. His first wife, Grace, was a kind and gentle queen. She had only one child, a daughter named Elissa. Elissa was beautiful, quiet, and intelligent. Although the king loved Grace, he longed for a son to carry on his name. In time, he married a second wife named Ruz, a stunning but prideful and ambitious woman. Before long, Ruz gave birth to 2 sons, and the king's attention shifted. Grace and her daughter, though still in the palace, were no longer seen nor cherished as before. Years passed, and the king died during a fierce battle. With his passing, one of Ruz's sons was crowned king, and from that moment, the real sorrow of Grace and Elissa began. As the mother of the new king, Ruz seized control of the palace. She treated Grace and Elissa like unwanted guests, stripping them of their rooms, dismissing their servants, and humiliating them in silence. Elissa often watched her mother cry softly in the night, but never once did she hear her complain. She endured with strength, and Elissa learned from her. After years of cruelty, Elissa and Grace decided to escape the palace under the cover of night. They climbed over the walls and journeyed through meadows and forests until they reached a distant woodland. There, they lived in hardship, facing hunger, cold, and fear. But they held tightly to hope. Elissa worked tirelessly. She gathered wood, learned to cook, to sew, and slowly saved enough to move to the city. Years later, she opened a small restaurant. The people of the town came to admire her. She was no longer the lost princess, she had become Elissa the strong, the wise, the self-made. But time has a way of turning everything. One day, their homeland was invaded by enemies. In the chaos of war, both of Ruz's sons, the former kings, were killed. Ruz, once powerful and proud, became a homeless wanderer, left with nothing. Grace, who had been living peacefully in the city with Elissa, heard the news and quietly prayed for peace. She didn't celebrate their fall, she simply gave thanks for safety. One cold morning, while Elissa and Grace sat together in their restaurant enjoying breakfast, an old, ragged woman appeared at the door, begging for food. Elissa rose from her seat. Her eyes widened. She knew that face. It was Ruz, the same woman who had once humiliated her mother, mocked their pain, and cast them out with cruelty. A storm of memory rushed into Elissa's heart. She wanted to shout, to drive her out, to repay her humiliation with scorn. But Grace gently placed her hand on Elissa's and said softly, "If you return what she gave us, then what difference is there between her and us?" Elissa stood still. Her chest rose with deep breaths. Then slowly, she turned to the staff and said, "Give her food. Let her sit somewhere warm." The moral of the story. This story reminds us that power without compassion is temporary, and cruelty eventually leads to ruin. Elissa, once shamed and cast out, rose through patience and effort, not by revenge, but by self-respect and quiet strength. Yet the greatest strength is not in victory, it is in mercy. When you have the power to humiliate, but you choose to uplift instead, that is true greatness. Elissa teaches us. 1. Pain can break you, or it can build you. 2. Revenge is easy, forgiveness is divine. 3. Your past may be dark, but your future is in your hands. 4. Escaping cruelty is not the end, it's the beginning. 5. Hunger, poverty, and failure do not define you, giving up does. 6. Humanity is found in compassion, not crowns. 7. Those in power today may beg tomorrow. 8. True strength grows in silence. 9. A mother's patience is the foundation of resilience. 10. And in the end, the greatest victory is choosing to remain human when you could have become the enemy.